Hello guys,
Hi everyone,
I'm Waldemar
and I'm Weronika.
and today we are watching a video about dogs.
Yes, we are. Why did we not put a dog plushie in the background? We should have done that. Oh well, too late now. We've got penguins.
It's another video from the TierZoo channel, which is, that's great, we said it 2 times before. We have 2 videos from this channel already. It's a video about dogs. I like dogs.
I too like
you
dogs.
like dogs?
Saying that I like dogs is like saying nothing at all.
But we don't have a dog, unfortunately.
Yet.
We would like to have a dog, but now we are living in an apartment and, we believe that we want to have a large dog. Me personally, I want to have a German Shepherd.
Yeah, and I want a Labrador Retriever or a Golden Retriever. But I could have a German Shepherd as well. I could have any dog. But we prefer a large breed. So we want to have space for it to run and exercise and have fun and everything. So we want to have a house. So if you want us to have a dog sooner, then you could subscribe and share this video with your friends.
Yeah,
and then
basically this channel is just a way for us to get a dog.
It really is in a way.
It's an elaborate plan to have a dog. Yeah, because we believe that having a dog in the apartment, it's too much of a trouble.
Yeah, especially if you don't have time to walk it. I think if you spend a lot of time outside and then you can take the dog for a lot of walks, then probably it's fine. But if we live like we do, we wouldn't have the time to spend hours walking the dog.
Yeah, and also, I think dog is not very happy living in an apartment.
Yeah.
I think it's also a bother to the neighbors because, dogs bark. Whatever you do, the dogs will bark. So it's not pleasant for the neighbors.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, we want
But
to have...
one day. That's
So
our
I
goal.
hope in the top tier list of a dog,
German
dogs
Shepherd will come out
it's a
superior.
German Shepherd. Who else could be in the top tier?
Well, Golden Retriever for sure. They are guide dogs.
I think Golden Retriever will be in B tier or an A tier, not in S tier.
But they're so clever. I don't know.
I haven't seen this video, just to let you know. You also haven't?
No, of course not.
And I think that the breed of the dog that is created to shepherd the sheeps, the border collie? No.
Oh, Border Collie, yeah.
Yeah, border collie. I think it's also gonna be in S tier
That's true.
because of how intelligent they are.
I heard Paddles are also very intelligent.
Yeah,
Most
but I don't know.
intelligent
But I don't
breed,
know
but I
if
don't know.
he only does this by intelligence.
Oh, but other stats. I'm pretty sure Chihuahuas are going to rank pretty low because they don't have the best stats.
Yeah, on their dogs with those noses like this.
Oh
that
yeah,
can't
the
breathe.
poor ones, the pugs. Oh yes. Okay. Well, let's find out. I am very excited.
Let's begin.
Play of the game.
Why did he attack the bison?
I've made it pretty
Then
clear that I
you
see
can
house cats and
distract the
domestic
other-
dogs as top tier. But although I've made videos already on the non-domestic felines, I haven't done the same for canines yet.
We have this
Oh.
video.
Canines are some of the most successful builds ever,
Maybe it's
despite
all
being
canines,
relatively
not
new to
just
the
dogs.
competitive scene. They debuted in the Oligocene expansion, but they really hit their stride in the Miocene, because the devs nerfed the dominant herbivore factions that had previously been untouchable. Canines had great matchups against the new, less tanky herbivores like deer, cows, and horses, and so canines were able to expand from North America and become a part of the meta on every single server other than Antarctica. But enough about the patch notes, let's get back to present day. All canines may seem similar, and they are, but there are some awesome, unique attributes and abilities that are worth
Recommend
discussing,
canine.
as well as
I
some
didn't know that.
misconceptions worth dispelling. So without further ado, let's get into it. So one of the key
So it's not
components
just
to a
breed.
successful canine build is team play. Hunting in packs and having a defined social structure turns what normally would be a pretty average build into a truly dominant one. And so the dogs that are the lowest on the tier list are of course going to be the ones that don't do this or do this poorly. At the bottom of the tier list we have the maned wolf. Now it's hard to look at this build and not think, wow, that's really cool. The maned wolf is the tallest canine in the current expansion, which gives it a bonus against stealth because it can see over tall grass. It's also the only one with a mane, a
don't
rare
know it.
attribute that's usually only seen on
neither.
lions and horses.
What's a puppy?
And
We
while
don't
manes
know.
do provide some protection against critical hits, it doesn't do much else. The maned wolf is also the biggest outlier of the dog faction in that it has a completely solitary playstyle. As a result, it doesn't have near the same
really is a
PvP
lone
potential
wolf.
that the more social dogs do. Despite being the tallest of canines, it has to settle for hunting small targets. Since those aren't a very good source of XP, it actually has to make up for it by eating a lot of plants and fruit. It's good that it's omnivorous, as being able to function as a
I'll give it a
scavenger
bit
is
of a-
great. But there's no ignoring that this build could have a much higher potential if it utilized team strats. One step up on this list and we have the Coyote, or for the non-American players, the Jackal. A build that honestly just needs a slight buff in order to be really strong, but at the moment isn't in the greatest spot in the meta. Even with solid team plays, Coyotes just don't do enough damage to score eliminations on targets that aren't already super weak. For example, in this clip here, we can see a team of Coyotes diving on this low-level deer player, but they're actually unable to get the pick before the rest of the deer team rallies and chases them off. If Coyotes were to spec into some longer, more dagger-like teeth, I could see them being better suited for this, but for now, they just aren't threatening enough. They tend to have equal or possibly favorable matchups against lynx and bobcat players, but lose hard against cougars. So I think this puts them at the high end of D tier definitively. One step higher and we've got the fox. Now I know most of us are used to seeing fox at the top of most tier lists, but in outside they're a lot more balanced. They have extremely similar base stats to coyotes, but also have a few unique abilities of their own. They've got extremely strong perception abilities that allow them to deal with stealth strategies employed by their targets. And their precision pounce attack is extremely useful for picking off targets that they discover hiding under the snow. Some foxes have also spec'd into climbing abilities, which is really useful for getting out of reach of the more powerful players. While their higher agility can help them avoid land predators, their smaller size does make them a target for raptors, so it's a bit of a trade-off. Coyotes and foxes both
Really?
Yeah.
The hawk can
Yeah.
kill a coyote? Sorry, a fox.
Yeah. You didn't know that?
No, I had no idea.
I think I've read about it in like a kid's
Jesus,
book as
the
well.
hawks are terrifying.
They just choose whatever they like. Sometimes wasn't there a story or two that a hawk caught a small toddler as well?
Yeah, but I think the fox is bigger than a toddler.
It depends.
And also,
Depends on
you
the
know,
toddler.
more,
Depends on the toddler.
more dangerous than a toddler.
Yeah, that's
What
true.
toddler can do.
Yeah.
utilize team play, but in a very disorganized fashion. Unlike the higher tier builds, they don't have an established pecking order or coordinated strategies. They sort of just band together and use numbers to their advantage. Sort of like social spiders, which I cover in my spider video. Next up, we've got the wolf. The wolf is one of the cornerstones of the forest meta and pioneered the technique that most pack hunting builds use today. The wolf hunting technique has been dissected and analyzed to an incredible degree. So here's a rundown of the strat plus a few tips on how to counter it. The basic wolf strat is a 5-step plan that utilizes every ability in the wolf's arsenal, and it goes like this. Step 1 is locating the target. Wolf players will use perception abilities like smell, sound, and footprint tracking to locate a potential bounty. Once found, they gather the pack and move on to Step 2. In Step 2, all wolves go into stealth mode and attempt to get as close as possible to the target without alerting it. Once the target detects them, they move on to Step 3. Step 3 is the defining moment in the hunt, and the success depends on what the target does here. Once the target detects the wolves, it can either charge, stand, or flee. The wolves will only proceed to Step 4 once the target flees. If the target chooses to stand its ground, the wolves must use intimidation abilities like growling and barking in order to reduce the target's resolve. If the intimidation succeeds and the target flees, Step 4 is triggered. Step 4 pits the mobility stat of the target against the mobility stat of the wolves. This step is also when the wolves will attempt to
It's like a
isolate
card
the
game.
target
Yeah.
player from their group
Yeah.
if they're in one. If the wolves manage to catch up to the target, the final step begins. Step 5 is the actual attack. Wolves rely on their bite move to inflict damage, and the size of their target determines where they'll try to land a hit. Against midweights, wolves will go for a crit by attacking the throat. If this succeeds,
Wow.
it should result in a one-shot kill. Against heavies, they actually won't go for a crit at all, because heavies can one-shot wolves if they aren't careful. Going for a crit puts them in range of an attack, so usually wolves will opt to attack the hindquarters since it's safer. Since they can't crit by attacking the hindquarters, it generally takes 3 successful bites in order to deal enough damage to inflict the bleed status effect. This drains the target's stamina and health over time, eventually leading to a game over for them. It's awesome that wolf
He's a
mains have
genius.
made their strategy guide available to new players, but doing so also allows players to learn the matchup and develop counterplay options. Here are some of the best ways to combat the 5-step wolf strat. The first is to spec into some high-level stealth abilities. Wolves actually have a relatively weak sense of smell, so camouflage is actually really useful
Yeah.
against them. A good stealth player will be able to stop the hunt at Step 1. If stealth doesn't work with your build, you can stop the hunt at Step 2 by detecting them during their stealth phase. Strong perception abilities will easily cause the wolf's mediocre stealth to fail against you. For example, wolves would pretty much never be able to successfully get within a dangerous range against a giraffe. But if they do manage to sneak up on you, the most important counterplay option
Look,
is
it's
to
the
stand
bear.
your ground. Wolves will only move to their attack phase if their target opts to flee. A player who opts to defend drastically increases their chances of success, since the wolf's only option at that point is to use its rather weak intimidation abilities. If wolves had access to roar like lions and tigers do, they'd be really tough to deal with. But since they don't, it's
Requirement
pretty
from
easy
third
to
class.
resist the intimidation attempts, especially in a group. In fact, a heavy player can end the encounter pretty quickly by using their own intimidation abilities like charge. So even though wolves do have a pretty solid offensive strategy, players with good fundamentals and matchup experience will be able to thwart their plans most of the time. And so wolves, much like birds of prey, function as the gatekeepers to the higher tier, and are placed solidly in A tier. The highest ranked canine build, other than domestic dogs of course, which I've already covered in another video, is the African Painted Hound. This build follows a very similar strategy to the wolf, but has stats and abilities much better suited for it. Its higher stealth allows it to get closer before being detected, and its higher speed reduces the chance that
Oh,
its
is it
target
like a
outruns
high-end?
it. Their sharper
but high-end
teeth
is-
deal more damage,
yeah.
and their highly sophisticated social structure is actually built around propping up the weaker members, rather than simply funneling the best loot to the highest ranking members. Considering that these players succeed in a meta that contains some of the most powerful builds in the game, it's tough to deny that African Painted Hounds are
Oh
top
my
tier.
god.
If you'd like to learn more about how canines evolved
Why
to
there is
become
no
some
one
of the
in the
most
video?
successful builds of all time, I highly recommend the
'cause there were
book
only
How to
5
Tame a
contestants, I
Fox and
guess.
Build a Dog by Ludmila Trut and Leanne Dugatkin, which you can listen to on
talked
Audible,
about
the
this a
leading
couple of
provider
times,
of
right?
premium
Yeah.
digital spoken audio information and
fascinating.
entertainment on the internet. Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. Just go to audible.com/TierZoo and browse the unmatched selection of audio programs. Download a free title and start listening. It's that easy. Go to audible.com/TierZoo or text TierZoo to 500-500 to get started today.
Okay, so we
why there
didn't-
was no one in the B tier?
I think because there were only 5 contestants, you'd have to get one more person, right? One more person, one more breed.
But
Kind.
on this graph before, it showed that the raccoons are canine.
Oh, that's true. I have no idea. I mean, that was his idea for the
But
video.
are they?
I don't know. It was very strange.
Hmm.
I don't know. Where's my phone? I check. Should I check?
Yeah.
So you say something, or we have to cut it out otherwise. Tell a funny story.
No, but I'm just curious why why the video was so short. You would think that the video about the dogs should be longer or more elaborate one. What?
Yeah. Wait. Sorry, I just found out they are from the family of raccoons, which doesn't help me very much.
And why didn't he mention dogs? He said
He said other than, because he said I already made a video about it.
this title is kind of clickbaity, I must say. It's the dog.
No,
the dog tier
raccoons are
list.
not canines.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
They are a different family classification.
I thought it's gonna be like a tier list of breeds of dog.
Yeah, I thought so too. I mean, it was still fun because those are still puppies, though they're wild puppies. But now I really want to watch another one about the breeds.
I
as
don't know
well.
if they have any.
He said he had the video that he showed that was like cats versus dogs, but I would be really curious about the breeds. That would be so funny. I'd like that. Maybe he makes one. Maybe he made one since because this was 6 years ago. So
Would
there's
you
a
be able
chance.
to withhold to hear how he roasts different breeds of dogs?
Just a little bit. No, but this was still fun. I listened to a podcast the other day about the wolves. Well, the other day, a month, I think, about the wolves. So I knew a little bit of this. I knew they weren't actually as good as hunting
Mm-hmm.
as it's believed, and that their sense of smell is actually not that good. What's another interesting thing I learned? That they are like maternal, so like they have a matriarchy.
Yeah, I know about that.
Yeah.
The females
They
are the
pass on
most
their
important
territory.
ones.
Yeah. You know that because I told you.
No, I know. I knew that before.
No, the first
And
time I
I
told you, you
remember-
said, "Oh, really?"
I remember reading in some sort of a book when I was a kid that the thing that makes wolves so successful in hunting
Mm-hmm.
is their ability to run for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
That they are not as fast as you would think.
Yeah, but they will tire out the prey. Yeah, I've had that
but
too.
they can run and run and run for a very long time.
But isn't it kind of the same thing with lions? that they are also not as fast as like cheetah or
I
whatever.
don't
They are
think,
fast,
I
but
don't
they are.
think that lions are long-term runners.
I think if I remember from the cats video that they had quite good endurance, but maybe I'm mistaken. Then we need to rewatch it.
But I remember from this book, it was like a book for children about animals,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember that. What is the fastest cat on the planet?
Cheetah.
Cheetah or gepard?
That's the same.
That's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in this book, it said that the wolf will be able to catch on to cheetah.
Ultimately, because the cheetah would have to slow down.
Yeah, that the cheetah is very
That's
fast, but on a very
fascinating.
short distance. But if it would never happen, of course, because wolf would not hunt cheetah,
Yeah.
and even if it did, I think it would lose. But that technically, if he would be chasing it for some reason and the cheetah would be running,
Mm-hmm.
then at one moment the wolf would catch it.
That's really interesting.
I wonder if it's true. But
Yeah.
it was a pretty good book.
Yeah, so I don't see anything against that. Maybe that is true. But yeah, well,
Yeah, we shared a story about dogs, what dogs we want to have.
yeah.
and
Now we have
then
to choose.
And then we had a video about like hyenas.
I mean, it was still pretty cool, but okay. But out of all of these, if you had to have one of them as a pet, but they're
But
domesticated.
Out of those?
Mhm.
But why would I have one of those? As a
I
pet?
don't know. It's like the case, like in the zoo, sometimes they have like snow leopards or something like
Yeah,
that.
I don't
and
know,
they're
but
friendly.
I like wolves. They are
Wolves, I think,
beautiful
right?
and like big dogs.
Yeah, I think a wolf too, or a hyena. Then would laugh at all of my jokes.
Yeah, we should have a hyena here on the channel.
Like instead of the box laugh, just have a
Like
hyena in the
A
background.
couple of hyenas. Every time you're saying something, they're like,
Yeah, just like that. Okay, thank you guys for watching very much. Please, subscribe, like, whatever you like. And we'll see you in the next video.
I don't care. No, I don't care.
No, I would like I would like it if you did one of those three things at least. Yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.